Good evening, you're joining me, Deshan Gonawala, on your primetime news this evening. We've got the very latest from here at home and around the world lined up for you today, but first let's have a look at your headlines.
The day the bill against the death penalty is tabled in Parliament will be announced a day of national mourning, says the President. A revelation that a gazette was used to bring in garbage into the country. Officials provide contradictory statements regarding the US cargo aircraft that landed at the Bandaranaike International Airport. Hosts England and New Zealand at the finals of the ICC Cricket World Cup. Chandrayaan 2, stage set for India's own moon landing.
Now, in your developing story, it has been revealed that the containers containing garbage currently in the custody of the customs and the garbage piled up at the Katunaika Free Trade Zone were imported into the country relying on a Gazette notification issued in 2013.
94 of the 102 containers sent to Sri Lanka from the United Kingdom were found to be full of garbage after customs officials opened and inspected 5 of them. While these containers are currently at the Colombo International Container Terminal, we revealed recently that similar garbage had also been dumped at the Katunaika Free Trade Zone. Against a backdrop where there are no legal provisions to import garbage into the country, the company that imported these consignments of garbage had relied on this extraordinary Gazette notification issued by then Minister of Finance Mahinda Rajapaksa on the 11th of July 2013. According to the Gazette, permission was granted to initiate the following businesses with a minimum foreign investment of 65%. Entry-port trade involving an import, minor processing and re-export, logistics services such as bonded warehouse, or in the case of operation of multi-country consolidation in Sri Lanka.
It was under this very same Gazette notification that the pepper was brought into the country in a manner that affected the pepper traders in the country. They used the provisions of the same Gazette notification. If this Gazette notification is not withdrawn, the customs officials will not be able to act against these smugglers. This Gazette notification has legalized the activities of these smugglers who act out of the bounds of the Customs Ordinance, Monetary Control Act and Import and Export Control Act. So we request the Finance Minister to withdraw this Gazette immediately. The people who are involved in smuggling these goods are not the average people in the country. They are the people who are highly privileged. We request the Finance Minister to reveal these people before the country and they should be punished severely.
Now, here are some of the views expressed regarding the garbage found in the Katunaika Free Trade Zone.
Customs have seized over 100 containers. They contain garbage including mattresses, garbage from the United Kingdom. Who is bringing these? We need to discuss this. The presidential candidates of the country are the ones who are importing these. This is a good revelation. There is a popular businessman in the country who is a presidential candidate. This person who dreams of being president is the one who is bringing in this garbage to the country. I make this revelation today. Go look at the free trade zone in Katunaika. I have video footage of this as well. A mountain of garbage just similar to this garbage that was discovered has been piled up at the free trade zone in the Bandaranaike International Airport. Go and look into this right now. When we go to Thailand, we take a few robes for offertory. They ask us if we are traveling for a business matter. In a country where such questions are asked, these businessmen can bring in mountains of garbage into the country. But unfortunately, all this is banned. No legal action has been initiated. This businessman has a few politicians in his pocket. So Ranil Wickremesinghe won't talk about this. Maithripala Sirisena won't talk about this. Mahinda Rajapaksa doesn't talk about it. Even Anurakumara Disanayaka or the members of the Sama Samaja party do not speak of this.
Now, the Ministry of Defense in a letter confirmed that the American aircraft that landed at the Katunaika International Airport had been granted full clearance to enter the country. According to the letter, the aircraft landed at the Katunaika International Airport to obtain goods and services needed for the flight while travelling on its onward path.
There are a number of contradictions in this letter sent to us by the Ministry of Defense. The first is the use of the phrase "while travelling on their designated path." When the flight path of the aircraft was examined, it was revealed that the aircraft had travelled to Bahrain from Frankfurt, Germany on the 11th of this month, following which they had travelled to Sri Lanka on the same day, flying for 5 hours. Subsequently, the flight had left the Bandar Naik International Airport and travelled to the Fujairah Airport in the United Arab Emirates. However, the travel time from Bahrain to Fujairah is just 1 hour, while the travel time from Bahrain to Sri Lanka is 5 hours. Therefore, the argument that the flight had landed in Sri Lanka while travelling on their designated path does not stand. The letter forwarded by the Ministry of Defence, based on information from the Civil Aviation Authority, states that the aircraft landed at the Bandar Naik International Airport to obtain goods and services needed for the flight. However, when we inquired from the Civil Aviation Authority yesterday, the authority said that the flight was transporting a consignment of apparels. When we brought this to the attention of the director of the media center of the Ministry of Defence, Brigadier Sumit Atapathu, he admitted that the information provided in the letter is contradictory. Although the letter sent by the Ministry of Defence confirms that the flight had provided the necessary details before landing in the country, when we contacted the officials at the Bandar Naik International Airport on the day the flight landed in the country, the officials only confirmed that the flight had landed at the airport and said that they do not possess any information on the cargo inside the aircraft. On the day, Sri Lankan Airlines, the company handling ground operations at the Bandar Naik International Airport, was not aware of any details regarding the aircraft. The McDonnell Douglas 11 aircraft belonging to the Western Global Airline, a cargo carrier, reached the Bandar Naik International Airport at 3:47 a.m. on the 12th of this month. Made in the USA, it is a large cargo aircraft capable of flying long distances. When observing the flight patterns of this aircraft, WGN 1710, it was clear that this aircraft had earlier flown to US bases in several countries in recent days. The aircraft has recently flown to Qatar Air Base on the 5th of July and Catania Air Base in Italy on the 2nd of July. In addition, the aircraft had also flown mostly to US bases or military installations in other cities in the recent past. Western Global Airlines is a member of the U.S. Department of Defense Civil Reserve Airlift Fleet, which provides augmentation to DoD airlift requirements. Therefore, it is doubtful whether the aircraft was a cargo carrier for U.S. troops under the AXA agreement.
Now, the opposition responded to statements made by Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe in Parliament this week about the US agreements.
The SOFA agreement was not the agreement that was signed in 1996. A set of letters were exchanged between the US Embassy in Sri Lanka and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. There is no SOFA agreement. If at all, what's there are the sofas in the lobby. The AXA, which was signed in 2007 by Gotabaya Rajapaksa, has 7 pages. The agreement we signed has 5. We will include everything and present it to the House with the changes. When the bond scam was spoken about in the Parliament, he said the only bond that he is aware of is James Bond. When the sofa was being discussed, to dilute the seriousness of this, he spoke about the sofas in the lobby. When matters pertaining to Prasad Karyavasam were being discussed, he said, I do not know of such a person, and said that he only knew Akila Viraj Karyavasam. When serious matters arise, the Prime Minister takes it for a joke, belittles the situation and tries to make fools out of the general public. The country is facing a serious issue because of this. Speaker Karu Jayasuriya signed an agreement in Washington to obtain money for parliamentary affairs. The value was $1.92 million. It is through this that Prasad Karyavasam is taken to a place where he can influence the independence of the parliament. The Speaker and the Prime Minister are both responsible.
Now, President Maithripala Sirisena presented land deeds to 5,000 Mahaveli residents today.
Under the national program to provide ownership of land to all Mahaveli residents, 5,000 Mahaveli farmers were presented with land deeds during an event held at the grounds of the Valava Zonal Project Management Office.
Priyanti Mahatmiya, David Mahata, Sujit Aposinyo Mahata.
Grants were also awarded for 4 places of religious worship. Minister Sajith Premadasa, along with a number of other ministers and MPs, attended the event.
Should the death penalty be enforced or not? People who say it should be enforced, raise your hands.
ඕක තමයි මෙතුමා ජනමතය.
All right, so everyone wants the death penalty to be imposed. Raise their hands. Everyone raise their hands. This is the opinion of the people. That, ministers, is the public opinion. When I signed off on the execution of 4 convicts, the matter was taken to court and stopped. But now a bill has been presented in Parliament to annul the death penalty. Who are the winners now? The drug dealers in the country. There are politicians in the country who are connected to underworld gangs. They were there in every government and every opposition. Even today, there are politicians who maintain connections with them. But I will not stop fighting for this. The death penalty should be implemented. American President Donald Trump said that if the drug menace is to be tackled in the country, the death penalty should be enforced across the US. When Donald Trump is saying that, representatives of Donald Trump in the country are lobbying against the implementation of the death penalty. These people are acting according to their whims and fancies. If the bill to abolish the death penalty is brought to Parliament, I will declare the day that it is brought to Parliament as a national day of mourning. This is a problem that concerns the future of the country. So I urge all the people of the country, raise your voices and demand for this as the general public. Voice your opinion that the death penalty is needed for the country. I request the general public of the country to take leadership against the government who are trying to abolish the death penalty by way of an act of Parliament.
මේ රටේ ජනතාව නායකත්වයේ ගන්නයි කියලා මම ගෞරවයෙන් ඉල්ලීමක් කරනවා.
Now, a soldier was killed while 8 others received injuries in an accident that involved an army jeep in the Vatrapalay area in Mullaitivu.
Army media spokesperson Brigadier Sumit Atapattu said the accident occurred when the jeep toppled over due to a mechanical defect. The victims of the accident were a group returning home on holiday after duty. Brigadier Atapattu said the accident occurred when the jeep was taking these soldiers to their bus. The injured are currently receiving treatment at the Mullaitivu hospital. The army spokesperson said that 4 of them are in critical condition. The injured include a sergeant, a female soldier, and 2 other soldiers. A lance corporal died in the accident. He was a resident of Mahiyanganaya. Meanwhile, a Defender SUV had fallen off a precipice in Pahalakadugannawa, Mavanalla this evening. According to the police, 5 people travelling in the vehicle were injured and admitted to the hospital. A 9-month-old infant is also among the injured. The police further confirmed that the injured are in a stable condition.
Now, a new national movement under the title Heta Pinisa Ada, which loosely translates to Today for Tomorrow, commenced today. The movement was commenced by the trade unions and the civil societies attached to the Janata Vimukti Peramuna.
There are 28 organizations affiliated with the JVP in this movement. The launch of the movement was held at the BMICH with the participation of religious leaders and politicians. The agenda of the movement was also unveiled at the event. The society is divided into 3 distinct camps. One camp has turned out to be going towards a very destructive racial and tribal social progression. The Rajapaksa camp provides the leadership to this camp. The next camp is signing very destructive agreements and taking the country towards an economic downfall. These 2 camps come together sometimes. There is another powerful camp that is against this. This has, however, not transformed into a camp. It has not come together. This camp that is dispersed should be brought together. This national movement is the most powerful center for this purpose. That is our aspiration. Currently, there is no third force in the country. You cannot accept the JVP as an alternative force. The acceptance that the JVP had is all but gone. The JVP in the past brought the 20th Amendment that the UNP wanted. They brought that amendment to give the Prime Minister the powers of the Executive President. So the JVP today is not in a position to accept the rule of law in the country. It is sad to say this, but it must be revealed to the country. There are a few professionals that have come forward as an alternative force. They are coming forward not for a political career, but because this country cannot continue like this.
Now, the foundation stone was laid for the construction of a Dhamma School at the Sri Bodhiraja Viharaya in Suryavawa in Hambantota.
Minister of Housing and Construction Sajith Premadasa presided over the event to lay the foundation stone for the Dhamma School this morning. The building, which was being constructed under the Sisudaham Sevana program, costs 4 million rupees. The building is being constructed under the direction of the chief incumbent of the Viharya, Venerable Batuvita Mahindawansha Thero.
The main institution that directs the children of the country and the citizens of our country in the right direction is the Dhamma School in the village. I would like to state that it was Ranasinghe Premadasa who provided uniforms and lunch for all school children in the country. If the general public of this country gives Sajith Premadasa the public mandate and the blessings of the people, all the children at Dhamma schools in the country will be given uniforms and lunch by the government. Instead of being talkative Buddhists, just like the father, his son too is ready to prove that he is a practical Buddhist.
Those views, of course, were expressed by Minister Sajith Premadasa, the Minister of Housing and Construction. Now, the pilot project organised by the Colombo Municipal Council and the Embassy of the Netherlands to create a car-free zone was launched this morning.
The launch of the car-free zone was conducted in the area surrounding the Independence Square. Mayor of Colombo, Rosie Senanayake, and the Ambassador of the Netherlands to Sri Lanka, Joanne Dunavod, attended the event.
Especially on a Sunday, the roads have been made free of cars and the general public can enjoy this freedom with their children. This is not only to ride bicycles, children can also entertain themselves on this one day of the week. We tested out this project today. We will first implement this project on one Sunday of the month, and if it is a success, we will continue to implement it on every Sunday.
A book authored by Colombo Municipal Councillor Uma Chandra Prakash was launched in Jaffna earlier today.
The book was launched at Fox Resorts in Cockaville, Jaffna. The book contains details on traditional jewellery. Parliamentarian Angajan Ramanathan and former Chancellor of the Jaffna University, Professor Vasantha Asaratna, were among the attendees of the book launch.
Now, according to the district secretaries, a crisis situation has arisen due to the Paddy Marketing Board not releasing paddy stocks in line with the decision taken by the Cabinet. However, the Paddy Marketing Board says that they are not releasing stocks of paddy in line with the decision taken by the Cost of Living Committee.
The district secretaries say that a certain tender procedure should be followed in order to sell state-owned paddy stocks, abiding by the decision taken by Cabinet. They point out that money has already been received from the buyers in this regard. When Newsfirst inquired from the chairman of the Paddy Marketing Board, Kasturi Anuruddhanayake, about this, he said that the Cost of Living Committee decided not to release the state-owned paddy stocks as the country's safety food stocks must be maintained. The decision reached by the Cost of Living Committee on the 2nd of July was to give instructions to district secretaries to preserve paddy stocks without releasing them. I merely followed that and decided not to release the paddy stocks. Also, in the meantime, district secretaries had decided to tender and then sell stocks of paddy. We later saw that the paddy tendered and sold was sold at a price below what it costs us. When we questioned the district secretary of Mathale regarding this, he stated that this statement is completely false. He further added that the Paddy Marketing Board has halted the supply of paddy, citing a statement made by the minister at a gathering in Ampara on how paddy was supposedly sold below the cost price. We saw that we do not have the expected yield this Yala season and kept this as a buffer stock to be used during an emergency. This is a massive racket. It was under the agreement that small and medium-scale mill owners will be used for this rice to be sold to the general public at a reasonable rate that the stock of paddy was stored. There are a few large-scale leading mill owners in the country, and there is a risk of these stocks being sold to them in secret. No, there is nothing like that. When you go through the tender process, sometimes it can result in such a situation.
Now in your sports news, the West Asia Baseball Cup begins tomorrow. TV1 and the Champions Media Network are the official media partners of the event organised by the Sri Lanka Baseball Association.
This is the first time that an international baseball tournament is being held in Sri Lanka. 6 countries, namely Sri Lanka, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal and Iran, will take part in this tournament from the 16th to the 20th. Captains and managers of the 6 countries participating in the tournament attended a media briefing held in Panadura today. We have not played a baseball match with India before. We do not know how they play. We cannot underestimate them. We hope to give them a competitive match. The 6 teams here are some of the most talented teams in West Asia.
Well, in a quick cricket update, England are at 90 for 4 in the 24th over of their game. And with that, that's a wrap of your primetime news for this evening. I've been Deshan Gonawala for the News First team. Good night and God bless.